here today to celebrate wonderful things in the city of Radford and to help us participate as we do our business. So thank you all for being here this evening. We'd like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, so we'll ask Gary Harris to come forward and lead us in the pledge.
Present arms.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. If you'll please take this time for a moment of silent reflection before we begin with the rest of the meeting. Thank you all very much. At this time, we will open the floor for citizen comments. Anything on the agenda, anything pertaining to the community you may comment on. You have 3 minutes. I have my little timer here. Please come down to the podium. State your name for the record. Please use the microphone so we all can hear you and it can be captured by the stream and the recording for the meeting, and we will get rolling. So the citizen comment portion is now open.
Good evening. That means I'm first.
You're first.
I'm Pastor Jerry Williams, and I greet the council and all those that are participating and attending tonight. I live here in Radford at 837 14th Street, and I came to address the council about the fact that some may not realize it, but my house and my fence there has actually been hit at least 4 times within the last few years. And at one time, it was basically almost literally destroyed by a car coming over the hill doing between 60 and 80 miles per hour. And on top of that, my insurance didn't even want to pay, and the lady didn't have insurance either. She had stolen the car, and so it was left to me to replace my own house. And at the same time, even since then, there's been further speeding still going on. A few years back, even a child got hit on the street on the other side of the hill from where I live. And even many times when I'm crossing the street to go to my mailbox, I've almost gotten hit, especially in the condition that I've had in the last year, because last year I actually fell and had to end up being on a walker. I died twice on an emergency room table. The neighbors on the street are complaining about the speeders. Sometimes even, as regretful as I have to say this, sometimes some of your city trucks even pass through a little faster than what they should. I don't have the name or the truck number either. I was told that a speed sign was placed down at the bottom of the hill at one time. But a normal person, once they turn the curve, they're not doing the speed that they're doing by the time they get up to my house. So even if you did put a speed sign there, it still didn't correctly clock all the speeders that were doing there. I talked there earlier one time with Mr. Redpath, the city manager here, and I want to say thank you, Mr. Redpath. He did send a crew out there. They did cut some limbs off of some trees, and that did help, especially for the school buses, because the school buses were coming up, and when they come up on the side of the hill, they'd actually have to ride on the side of my hill, towards my fence, to keep them turn the mirrors off of the buses. And there were times when another bus, all cars would come over the hill and almost hit the bus, which I was looking for a time. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen, when some child or somebody's going to get killed. The other night on Thursday night, as a matter of fact, I was sitting on my front porch, and a truck came up the hill, and he was moving pretty swiftly. And all of a sudden, just before he got to the very top of the hill, he veered over like this to the left. He was heading towards Staple Street. I thought he was getting ready to turn into someone's house there to the driveway. Turns out that another person who was sitting on the truck on the porch with me, he got up to leave. When he got up the top of the hill, there was a mailbox in the middle of the road in the actual lane there, which that truck almost struck that mailbox. And I did call the police department and mention to the police department incidentally. They've come every time when I've called them, and I've thanked them for their service and so forth. I've even asked at one time for the police to even set in my driveway, but they explained to me probably that it's because of private property, they would probably not be able to do that. The other thing they said that the radar in their vehicle is in the back, so they'd have to pull in so the radar would clock them going by, then they'd have to back out and then go after the person that's actually speeding. And we really need the street to be wide. I know.
Just finish up your thought. I know. I appreciate it.
But I'm trying to be cooperative, but I wanted to let you all know and give you a bird's eye view of what's going on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have, I think Jerry Holdaway had visited with you. We are trying to watch the speeding up there. Take care of some lamps and some other things. We continue to try to work with Mr. Wims and the residents there to do as much as we can to help that problem.
Well, the big question is that the fact that the street down below the end is wider. It should be wider on that end too. But you all say you haven't got in the budget, but yet you're paying everybody 8 hours a day, so why can't you do it?
It's a right of way. There's a narrow right of way down there too.
So how about this, Mr. Wims? What we'll do, and before I get to this, we'll come back to the rest of the citizen comments in just a moment. We'll take a look and see what can be done. We'll get back with you and try to let you know what all we can do. Okay? Thank you. Is there anyone else who has comments for the record this evening? Seeing no one heading to the podium, we will close that portion of the meeting. And we do have a number of wonderful recognitions this evening. First up is a recognition for our water treatment plant. The Virginia Department of Health has awarded the water treatment plant a gold award for the calendar year 2021. This award recognizes best practices in water filtration, clarification, filter backwash. This is our 7th gold award, and we have representatives here from the Virginia Department of Health. Please introduce yourselves and welcome. We are happy to have you.
Well, I want to thank you, Mayor Horton and council members, for having us. We appreciate your time. My name is David Dawson. I'm the Deputy Field Director, Virginia Department of Health Office of Drinking Water, and we're based in Abingdon, and this is your district engineer, Lisa Crabtree, and she works directly with the city's water system and with the water treatment plants. Just mention that this award, this was originated by the United States Environmental Protection Agency. They came up with an idea that, can we get folks a way to recognize when they provide better treatment than's required by the regulations? Because the more effective the treatment is and the better quality of water that you receive reduces potential for public health. And so it strengthens that. I was reminded that the average life expectancy for somebody in the United States in the year 1900 was 57, and in the year 2000, 75, and much of that has been attributed to having safe drinking water that's been disinfected. And I just explained about the EPA initiative is to look at that. Virginia has began this in 2003, and then actually our first set of awards were in 2005. And our focus is on the water treatment plant. And if you're familiar with the water treatment plant, there's filtration. There's actually chemical coagulation. Your water comes out of the New River, and add chemicals to make it settle out as much as possible, and then it's filtered, after which it's disinfected. And so the 3 aspects that we look at are the clarification in the settling, and then the filtration, and then the operation of cleaning the backwash of the filter. I don't know if you've all been to the plant recently, but it would be very interesting, and there's a lot of construction and projects that are maybe going to be in the horizon. Mr. Harshberg, you've seen the backwash, and you see what comes out of it, and thought that was all in the water, and it's like, yes, on that. But so the requirements are based on turbidity, which is light scattering, and the regulations in Virginia are 0.3 NTUs. Well, the award is based on having 95% of all your samples at 0.1, 3 times better quality water, and looked at that. And so it's just a terrific way, and we're here to present the award and compliment, and I'll turn it over to Lisa.
So for the year 2021, the City of Bradford's water treatment plant, they received a perfect score of 20 out of 127 water treatment plants within the state, which is a pretty amazing score. When I started in water treatment, I had been, 20 years of environmental, but never had worked in water.
Oh, we're going to. Let her finish, and we will break into thunderous applause.
So I had 20 years of environmental, but, no water treatment plants. And so my boss, Brian, who is the field director for Abingdon Field Office, is like, what water treatment plant can I send him to that not only does a really good job, but also the operator is going to be honest and show me everything that he knows? Let's send her to Radford, because Wade is going to show her everything, good and bad, in his water treatment plant that she needs to know. So off I came to Radford. And every question I have had, Wade and his staff, Wade and Brad and everybody there, Lawrence, have always been extremely cooperative and very good with everything that they needed to provide us.
So now I think is the appropriate
Now is
time,
the
Reverend
appropriate
Wims.
time.
Let's applaud. I think that deserves a standing ovation. Why don't you all come down front here and we can do the presentation of the award here and get a picture, and we will sort of stand out of the way so that we make sure we're
We
supportive.
encourage the council members to also be in the picture because.
We will. We can just gather right here if you all want to get right here in front of us.
I'll be here.
And to all of our folks who direct and work at the water treatment facility, thank you. We appreciate everything you do every single day. The citizens of Radford's health is much improved because of all of your efforts. So again, we applaud you. Thank you. Excellent job.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Excellent job.
Thank you, sir.
Done. Thank you.
And just so you know, this is the reason we have the best coffee in the entire region.
And Dr. Harshberger would know.
He would know.
That's exactly right. And thank you all so much from the Department of Health. We appreciate you coming down to celebrate this wonderful achievement. Well, great news and more good news that we get to talk about. At this time, we'll ask Kim Repass to come to the podium. She is our Director of Tourism as well as Director of Economic Development, and we get to talk about our summer concert series. So Kim, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So very exciting in the city of Radford as we start gearing up for events for the summer. And we are starting our summer concert series. I guess the first thing that we were excited about was, one, to provide an opportunity for our citizens and community to come out and enjoy themselves listening to music, grabbing a bite to eat, but also to provide different genres of music. And I think this is a great time to start looking at how successful they are as we look into the future and providing more opportunities as well as diversity as we go into the coming years. So we had our first concert in May, which was last month, May 21st. We had the Legacy Motown Review, and they are certainly, obviously, no strangers to Radford. They were here with us last year in August, and great turnout. People were so very excited to come out. Everybody loves Motown, so it was a wonderful group to come out and kind of kick us off this year. So our first one was May 21st, which was last month. Very exciting. We had a great turnout. Wonderful food. Our next one is actually this Saturday, June 18th. So that is going to be Ryan Perry, who is our country. We're featuring country this week, or this coming week. July 23rd is Cassette Rewind. So they're an 80s cover band. Fantastic group. So we're encouraging everybody to grab your best Don Johnson attire, leg warmers, and come out and enjoy some 80s music. August 20th is our contemporary Christian / contemporary group that is Stars Go Dim. They are a national group, and I'm so very excited to get them here in Radford. Also opening for them is Dustin Chapman and Riley Madison. They were actually both on American Idol, and they are a uncle-niece duo. They're fantastic. So they are going to be big in the coming years, and I'm so excited that years from now we're going to say they were in Radford in 2022. September 24th, which will be our last concert, is our beach music blowout beach party. So we're planning to have the Catalinas, which is a well-established beach group out of the Carolinas here in Radford. We're going to have a bring your car, pop your hoods, and enjoy some good food, and bring families out and enjoy themselves. So we're very excited. We also have a t-shirt that we came out with, and Naomi's actually sporting that right now.
There you go.
So we have our sponsors listed on the back, so it's very exciting. I also want to thank the Radford Chamber of Commerce for partnering with us and supplying the adult beverages for us at these concerts. We actually thought of another way to try to get families out for the summer. You know, what can we do to provide an extra opportunity to get littles out with us? I know concerts sometimes are a little bit too much for them. So we established Radford Reels, which is a family movie night. And the idea was to have those on Friday nights, since our concerts were on Saturday, to provide an opportunity on Friday nights for families to come out and enjoy themselves, bring a blanket, bring a chair, and watch a good feeling movie. Our first one's next Friday, June 24th, and we're featuring Sing 2. Friday, July 15th is Clifford the Big Red Dog, and Friday, August 12th is Luca. So I appreciate the Tourism Commission so very much for agreeing and being on board with some of my visions, and I know sometimes they may be a little outlandish, but we're so very excited to provide this opportunity for our community to come out, enjoy themselves for some good family fun.
Outstanding. I think it's wonderful that we're doing this. So far, I've heard nothing but positive comments from people who've attended the shows, and you know, tourism is a huge part of our future for economic development for the city, and so this is a great way to gauge but also get a foothold in that. Naomi, you serve on the commission.
Kim, how much is the admission to Radford Reels?
It is absolutely free. Absolutely free. There will be popcorn, cotton candy, and drinks available for purchase, but please bring a chair, bring a blanket. It will be on the fields of Glencoe, so there's plenty of room. The screen is a pop-up screen, and the movies start at 9 o'clock. And I understand that may be a little late for some little kiddos, but it is an outdoor movie, so in order for it to
Gotta
actually
get dark.
show, it has to be dark. So it is an outdoor movie. I've had some questions about that, but we're very excited to have this as Radford Reels this year.
I think it's great. Any questions, council members? Other than bravo? Thank you. Good job. And so we've mentioned several times the Tourism Commission. Naomi is our representative from council, and Kim heads that up. That is a great way to be involved if you want to help work on projects like this, if you have ideas to try to enhance tourism activities for the city. You can get engaged with that, and you can get in touch with Jenny Goodman or with Melissa, serving as deputy clerk, to let them know that you would like to participate that way. We have another wonderful report. One of our absolute best activities of the entire year is our Spirit of America celebration on the 4th of July. Kenny Goodyear, Director of Parks and Recreation, is here. Kenny, come on up to the podium and tell us all about the event this year.
Thanks, Mayor Horton, City Council. I would say it's hard to believe 4th of July is already almost here again until you walk outside in 95-degree weather. And I think the last couple of days made everybody realize what time of the year it is. But, very pleased this year. The July the 4th, it is the Spirit of America celebration, and I think everything's kind of built around that theme, where I know the veterans come out full force for it. Gary Harris, VFW, you know, when Jimmy Fortune sings More Than a Name on the Wall, he invites all the veterans to come up around the gazebo, and if you've never been there, that's one of the most touching things I've seen. Just veterans from young to old, they come out around the stage. But it's a great lineup this year. The Radford Recreation Commission got very involved this year with the planning of the event. And late last year, we had a website to invite the community input on, you know, the groups or improvements, what they wanted to see on it. Had great response on it. It was some very hard decisions on what bands, what groups to invite. I think the commission spent at least 2 months on it, and came up with a lot of diversity, a lot of good groups. We've got the Luau Project out of Charlottesville. Got the Groove Control from Pulaski, Castaways Beach Band from North Carolina. Got the Cat 5 Band from Greensboro. They're going over to Jimmy Fortune. It seems like every time I go somewhere, I hear the name Cat 5 Band. But I tell you something very interesting. I was going to my brother's place in North Myrtle Beach a couple of weeks ago, listen to the beach station, and I heard them advertise. They said at the Shaggers Conference they had both the Castaways and the Cat 5 Band playing that week. And I'm thinking, well, gosh, Radford's not that far away. You know, they're both playing in Radford and North Myrtle Beach. But we're one of the big improvements made this year, which an hour doesn't sound like a lot, but we're going to expand the games this year. Instead of from 1 to 6, the games are going to go from 1 to 7. If you've ever been at the park that night and looked at the games section, I know Naomi mentioned to me a couple of years ago, I think someone approached us, said they couldn't believe the games were free of charge. And I think because of sponsors, I think that really is what makes July the 4th what it is. It's except for buying a hot dog or a snow cone or something, you know, it's the game's free of charge, music's free of charge, there's no charge of parking, and that's something that I'm proud of. We've been able to keep it free of charge. After this afternoon, we had 11 food trucks. That's more than we've had the last few years. We've got a great variety of food this year. I know I was looking over the list. You can get everything from barbecue to snow cones to funnel cakes and everything. And they've got until this Friday. Food trucks actually have until this Friday, or food vendors to enter the event. Got Rhino going to do the parking for us this year. If you've ever been to the park, they get you in and out of the park quick. They utilize every spare inch of the park for parking. We've Fortunate this year, as in the past, we've got Mayor Horton and Dr. Harshberger on the agenda. Mayor Horton will be there, the opening ceremonies, giving the opening welcome, and Dr. Harshberger with his patriotic readings. Bradford Police Department, their K-9 unit, they're going to be giving a K-9 exhibition this year. And if you've never seen it, it's truly amazing what these service dogs can do. And the Police Department K-9 unit, they do a great job explaining exactly what the dogs do. The shuttle bus is going to run from 1:30 to 10:30, fireworks at 9:30. They're sponsored by Third Security for, I think, the 20th straight year. I can't say enough about sponsorship of Third Security. Every year we contact them and they come through for us. And that's one of the reasons we're able to keep it a free event. And we've, radio station, they've been running ads probably since the middle of May. I mean, about every hour you can hear an ad taped by Jimmy Fortune. They got 2 live interviews coming up. They'll be in the park, broadcasting live today at the park and everything, doing interviews. And they're a great sponsor. And one thing when I was looking today at audit departments, this is truly a city effort. It's no 1, 2, 3, 4 departments can do it by themselves. I was just looking, we had a meeting last week, and we had the rec department, the police department, the fire department, public works, the city manager's office, tourism, electric department, water department, engineering, Radford tourism, and finance are all involved in the planning. But I mean, I don't think there's a single department in Radford that doesn't have their hand in 4th of July. When we're at whether or not it's finance paying the bills to Melissa lining up Radford Transit all day. So looking forward to coming out and everything. Hope everybody may. It's a Monday this year, which is great. You know, last couple of years it's been a weekend. We've dealt with COVID. We've dealt with the uncertainty of having it on a Sunday, but this year it's on a Monday. So hope everybody can come out and hope for good weather, and we'll see you there.
Thank you, Ken, and appreciate all the hard work you've done all these years. I especially appreciate the way you worked with the citizens this year for the musical acts and bringing folks in to talk about what they'd like to see. Really do appreciate that. Forrest, I know you're our Parks and Rec Commission rep. You have any thoughts?
I mean, yeah, that's fantastic. Everything sounds fantastic, and I know it's going to be an absolute blast. So thank you for the work that you've done, and as you said, such a citywide effort. So thanks to all the department heads, every city employee has been involved in this fantastic
Absolutely.
effort.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So help us spread the word. In addition to the biggest and best fireworks in the New River Valley, come on out for the show. It's going to be a great time, lots of fun games, all kinds of good things going on July the 4th. We are going to move on to the Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to ask Dan McKinney to come on down, and I think he's going to present some information. We have a brand new video that is going to be debuted here. So Dan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members. So first, with everything that's been presented, the concerts, the Radford Reels, the July 4th, I've been getting calls in my office, so keep on pushing the word out. It's working. So
Great.
So the video, what a journey and what a project. So if you've ever started a project and you've never done it before, you can kind of maybe gauge how long it's going to take. But when Ben here behind me, he's an intern from Radford University, came into the office in January. We sat down, did a little interview. He said he had some, on his application, we talked about his videography experience. He's like, I'm willing if you want me to try it. So he jumped in feet first, head first. I don't know what it was. But we got it done in a very, very short time period, what turned out to be a 3.5-month project should have been a 12-month project. That gives you any idea of what we had to do to condense this. So between the two of us, we figure we have about 500 hours in this project. So lots of people to thank. I'm not going to go through them all. You pretty much know who you are if you've been involved. So the journey started with Ben learning about Radford, what Radford was about, its history. So he went and bought the book at Glencoe and had him read it. We had some key stakeholders in the community, which I had him interview. So the cool thing about that part of the process was that everybody had their own little spin on Radford. But at the end of the day, they all came back to the same thing. It was community and the people. So, I mean, you guys can pat yourself on the back. We live in a great, great community.
Absolutely.
So, I kind of lost my train of thought. If you have any questions for Ben, he's willing to answer them. Special thank you to Mayor Horton. You'll recognize very quickly why I'm thanking him, but he became a great mentor to Ben as well. He was on campus most days, and Ben went by often to chat and try to pull it all together. The weather didn't cooperate for us, so we kept waiting for spring to spring, but it never sprung. So without further ado, this kind of goes along the Radford's Live, Work, and Play theme, so it's roughly 80 seconds. I hope you enjoy.
And the sound of a fishing lure hit the waters of the New River. You'll hear chants of "Let's go Bobcats" and "Let's go Highlanders," and the sound of the creek flowing through Wildwood Park. You'll see local business owners hard at work, ambitious enough to start something new to make an impact in the community. You'll see the history that defines our past and the artwork that defines our future. You'll smell mouth-watering food from restaurants only found in Radford all the way to burgers sizzling on the grills at Bissett Park. But what you'll ultimately experience is what truly makes our city special and sets us apart: our people, our healthcare workers, barbers, firefighters, and everyone in between. The small town feeling that makes families want to grow here and people want to live here. So when you come to Radford, take in the sights and sounds, but stay for the people. Hear their stories and why they choose to live, work, and play here. Then you'll see what makes our community great. Welcome to Radford. Welcome to our community. Good job, Ben. You did great.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Council members, you all have any questions?
That's just amazing. I know when I saw the first post of it, I was excited to see all the locations, but then I'd see a familiar face and I'd be like, oh, yay. So it's just very nice. And you're right, I like that you captured really just not only what we have to offer here in regards to sites, but also I think community and
It's
people.
about 40 different video clips, if you can imagine what raw footage we actually have.
Well, it's really, you did a great job.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Dan.
Ben, where are you from? Reiner, okay. So not too far, you've heard of us.
We'll claim you.
Yeah, I was gonna
Absolutely.
say, it looks like you're fond of us. You may think of relocating. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you all very much. And this is such an important part of telling our story and all of us together being ambassadors for our community. So really appreciative of Dan and the Chamber and Ben and everybody working on all that. So exciting times. We have a lot of wonderful things going on in the month of June, and we're going to begin with some proclamations. So I'll turn to Jesse for a proclamation about Juneteenth.
Proclamation for Juneteenth 2022. Whereas Juneteenth, also known as Freedom Day, Jubilee Day, Liberation Day, and Emancipation Day, is a holiday celebrating the emancipation of those who had been enslaved in the United States. And whereas on June 19, 1865, General Gordon Granger announced that slaves in Texas were free by order of the President of the United States. The announcement came 2.5 years after President Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, which had become official January 1, 1863. And whereas freedmen in Texas organized the first of what became the annual celebration of Jubilee Day on June 19th, and whereas June 19th has a special meaning to African Americans, and it is called Juneteenth, combining the words June and 19th, and has been celebrated by the African American community for over 150 years. And whereas the City of Radford encourages everyone to observe Juneteenth as an opportunity to reflect, rejoice, and plan for a brighter future as we continue to address racial injustices in our society today. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Mayor and Radford City Council that June 19th, 2022 be known as Juneteenth in the city of Radford, and we urge everyone to become more aware of the significance of this celebration in African American history and in the heritage of our nation and our city. Mayor, I would make a motion that we adopt this proclamation.
Thank you very much. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second to adopt the Juneteenth proclamation. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you very much. And I know we have a Juneteenth event that day. The Radical Change Commission is helping coordinate that from 6 to 8 p.m. at the gazebo in Bissett Park. So exciting times. This is also a busy time of the month. It is Pride Month, and we are looking to recognize the LGBTQ plus community. So I'll turn to Naomi with that proclamation.
Yes. City of Radford Proclamation for Pride Month 2022. Whereas lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer Pride Month is celebrated each year in the month of June to commemorate the 1969 Stonewall Uprising in Manhattan, New York, which sparked the movement for LGBTQ equality. And whereas Pride celebrations have evolved to highlight the modern LGBTQ rights movement. And whereas the purpose of this commemorative month is to recognize the hardships faced by the LGBTQ community, as well as the impact that LGBTQ individuals have had on history locally, nationally, and internationally. And whereas Pride is a celebration of all LGBT community members who are an important part of the diverse tapestry of individuals and families that make up Radford City. And whereas the City of Radford recognizes that the struggle for equality and acceptance for LGBTQ people is advanced by the dedication of advocates and allies who promote tolerance and inclusion. And whereas the City of Radford continues to work towards becoming an inclusive community in which all citizens, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity, are respected and recognized for their contributions and potential. And whereas Pride Month encourages self-acceptance, tolerance, and open-mindedness. Now, therefore, the City of Radford does hereby recognize the month of June 2022 as Pride Month in the City of Radford, and encourages Radford residents of all sexual orientations and gender identities to celebrate and reflect on the vital role pride plays in building a community that is stronger, more diverse, and welcoming to all. Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt this proclamation.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? A
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you very much. And again, I'd like to point out we had a wonderful event on Saturday for Pride Month. Again, the Radical Change Commission helped coordinate all of that. And then this Thursday, there is a potluck in the park as well that another group is putting together. And that'll be taking place down, I believe, in Shelter 2. It's in Bissett Park, so I'm not sure which shelter, but down at the park. So lots of good stuff going on to recognize the important elements that take place here during June. Now, another group that has worked not just the last month or even the last few months, it's all year and really all the time to work with our kids, our K-12 grade children, their parents and families throughout the community. Radford City Public Schools, we wanted to say thank you to them, and Forrest has a proclamation doing just that.
City of Radford Proclamation, Radford City Public School Staff Appreciation. Whereas Radford City School employees in our school are the backbone of our public school system, and whereas the education of our youth is imperative to our community, and whereas school employees work directly with our children, staff, parents, volunteers, business partners, and community members, and are responsible for the nutrition and general well-being of our children, as well as in direct instruction, and whereas our CPS employees ensure the smooth operation of our offices, the maintenance of buildings and property, and the safety of our staff and students, and the community trusts them as important messengers about our schools, and whereas our community depends on employees to serve students and other staff, often in challenging circumstances, and all employees, with their diverse talents and true dedication, nurture our youth throughout their pre-K through 12th grade years. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Radford City Council that all employees of Radford City Public Schools be recognized for their dedication to the children of the Radford community, and Council encourages all members of our community to join in this observance, recognizing the dedication and hard work of these individuals. Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt this proclamation.
Thank you very much. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I know we've got some representatives of our school board and administration and school employees here. If you all would stand up and be recognized, we'd like to say thank you. Thank you all very much. Okay, moving on to our public hearing section of the meeting. We've got lots of stuff going on in Radford, and this is a wonderful opportunity for us to talk a little bit more about some things that are happening. Before I get into the details of it, I'm going to turn to Ryan as our chair of the Planning Commission. Ryan, would you like to open your portion of the meeting, and then do you have a quorum?
Yes, we're here for the public hearing for the Apostolic Church rezoning request. Melissa, if you would roll call.
Mr. Collier? Here. Mr. Gillespie? Here. Ms. Mannion? Here. Ms. Huntington? Here. And Ryan Watson?
Here, we do have a quorum.
All right, thank you very much. So we will open the public hearing in just a moment. We want to go through a couple of quick presentations. I'll just give you the brief here. The Apostolic Church has acquired a portion of property located at 10 Forest Avenue to construct a church facility. The 9-acre property is currently zoned M2 heavy industrial and would need to be rezoned to B1 limited business to support the church-related uses. As part of this process, we schedule a public hearing so that the public can weigh in on this discussion. Then this will be this is done jointly with the Planning Commission. This will go back before the Planning Commission before it is advanced to council. So I'll turn to Melissa to give us a brief overview of things on this, and then we will open the floor for anyone who has a comment.
Thank you, Mayor. As you shared, our Planning Commission received an application request from the Apostolic Church in May to rezone a portion of 10, what is it? Forest
Avenue, yes, 10 Forest Avenue.
10 Forest Avenue. They're going to remain it's about a 14-acre parcel that's going to be subdivided into approximately 9 acres. As you shared, current zoning is M2, general industrial, and the request is to rezone it to B1, which is limited business, and this is, of course, to accommodate the development of a church. The subject property consists of a single parcel, approximately 14 acres, and is located at 10 Forest Ave. It's historically served as the concrete plant. The comprehensive plan designated this site as an industrial with the intent of the district is to provide appropriate locations for industrial uses. The differences between the two districts, the intent of the MU is certainly the general industrial district. It is our heaviest use within the community. It is structured as a planned unit district, and as approved site plan will have to be, for any type of project. The B1 is limited business, and it is intended to accommodate a limited range of low-density retail, personal service, office use that's compatible to adjacent residential areas. The development of a church is a by right use within the B1 district. As you can see, I have starred the parcel in question this evening. Where you see the number 10, that is where the current plant is, and you'll see later on where they're going to look at cutting and subdividing it into. Currently, the comprehensive plan has it identified as industrial. That's the current use existing. Our future land use map is industrial as well. I apologize, I'll go back a couple, and you can see the adjacent properties. We have the river, we have the conservation district, we have some R3 residential, and we also have additional industrial. I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
And this is an aerial of the portion that they're looking at subdividing. You can see at the lower corner, that is currently a part of the current park and the concrete plant. They're going to remain the use of that. They're not requesting to have that portion to be rezoned. It's only simply this portion that they are requesting, those 9 acres that they are requesting. We do have Pastor Joey Hall here if you have any questions, and certainly if you'd like to add anything to your presentation. Okay?
Okay. And before we go into that, let's just talk briefly about the comprehensive plan, how that's developed, and what we do. Because you mentioned that, and I'm not sure that everybody is aware of how that process goes.
So we're required by the state to have a comprehensive plan for the locality that really identifies the uses throughout the community, whether it's going to be residential, business, and types of residential, and the densities. It really is looking at how we're going to plan our future and identify areas that we want for growth and or redevelopment. So when the most previous comprehensive plan continued the use of industrial because there are limited industrial sites within the city.
And we work with the regional commission as well as surveying citizens and a whole host of people when we develop that plan.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, at this time, thank you, Melissa. Council members, do you all have any questions for Melissa? Planning commissions, any questions? Okay. We will open the floor for the public hearing. Please come down to the microphone at the podium if you have any comments regarding what has been presented or any comments to clarify any questions you might have. Please come on down front. I don't think we have a mad rush to the microphones. So seeing no one coming to the microphone, we will go on. Reverend Wims, you go right ahead.
Yes. Greetings to you again. Thank you, Council, and Mayor Horton. I pastor a church that's adjacent to where that property is presently at right now, Liberty Full Gospel Fellowship Church. Matter of fact, this month we'll be celebrating 27 years there. And the hearing of the fact that the Apostolic Church has plans to come there, I welcome you. And I'm glad you'll be able to come and hope we can work together.
Thank you, Reverend Wims. Any further comment from anyone in attendance this evening? And this was advertised as a public hearing. I don't believe we received any mail or email regarding this either, correct?
I did receive an additional, Pastor Wims and I spoke previously and had received a couple other calls, but nothing negative.
Okay, all right. Okay, and as such, seeing no one else coming to the microphone, we will close the public hearing portion of the meeting, and we'll let the chair of the Planning Commission close his portion of the meeting. So you're closed. And we will move forward from there. So the way this process will move out, the Planning Commission will consider a recommendation at their meeting on June the 22nd, 2022. Okay, thank you all very much. We also have some business regarding Atmos Energy, our natural gas franchise in the system, in the city. We have had a franchise agreement with Atmos to conduct, maintain, repair, and replace, as well as operate a system of natural gas main services and transmission within the city of Radford. The agreement was last renewed 20 years ago, June 10th, 2002, for a period of 20 years. It's set to expire on June 10th, or did expire on June 10th, 2022. Atmos has requested the city extend the franchise for an additional 30 years. The company operates under the regulations provided by the state Corporation Commission. We receive 1.5% of the gross revenues from the Atmos Energy business operations. I got a couple things to do. David, do you have any thoughts or comments? And do you have your microphone handy?
Yeah, everything's on. The public hearing tonight has been advertised. As you know, there's two pieces of it. One of them is to advertise for additional anybody interested in franchise. That has come and gone. We did not receive any other proposals except the one from Atmos Energy. And the other part is to advertise for a franchise agreement with Atmos Energy. And we have been working with Atmos on the details of that. Everything looks good and is ready to go from our perspective. We have not had any issues. They do a great job of providing natural gas services, underground natural gas services to our community and to its customers.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, I will open the public hearing. If you have any comments or questions, please come down to the microphone, state your name for the record, and make any comment that you have.
This is a rowdy group.
I know. Seeing none, we will go on and close the public hearing portion, and I do have some things that I need to go through because since this is a bid for a non-exclusive franchise, we've only had one company that has submitted bids, but I have some things I need to go through. Pursuant to Virginia Code Section 15.2-2102, I, Mayor David Horton, will now summarize the bids that the city has received for a proposed non-exclusive franchise to use and occupy the city's streets and public rights-of-way and places for the purpose of operating a system of facilities to supply natural gas to the citizens and businesses of the city. The following bids have been received. Number one, Atmos Energy Corporation has proposed a 20-year non-exclusive franchise to operate a natural gas system in the city. In consideration of the franchise, Atmos proposes to pay the city an annual franchise fee of 1.5% of Atmos's gross revenues, defined to mean the total dollar value of the grantee's gas sales occurring within the geographical limits of the city. The franchise will be subject to the terms of the franchise agreement contained in the city's proposed ordinance granting a non-exclusive franchise for a natural gas transmission and distribution system in the city of Radford, Virginia. Atmos was the city's previous provider of natural gas service, and this would be a renewal of the previous franchise. So, at this time, are there any other persons desiring to submit a bid in addition to the Atmos Energy Corporation? Hearing none, there being no further bids, the bidding is closed. Does city staff have any additional recommendations concerning the bid submitted by Atmos?
We're recommending proceed with Atmos Energy.
Can I ask a quick question on this? It looks like the last time we extended it for 20 years, and now it's saying, I heard you say 20 years, but in here it says 30
We've gone back.
years.
Originally, they proposed 30. We've gone back
at
with 20.
They originally proposed for 30, we felt like 20.
Okay,
The
good.
age is good.
Yeah.
Atmos Energy is also interested in 20.
Okay.
So the
just-
bid is
got it.
correct.
All right, good, because our literature said 30,
Yep.
and I thought, well,
It is 20 years.
okay.
So I did this a little out of order. I think I did the public hearing first instead of the bidding first. Does city staff have any recommendations on any other bids? Since there are none, I guess there are no additional recommendations. Melissa, do we need to do the public hearing again, or are we good? No, you're good. Okay. Do I have a motion from council to approve the ordinance granting a non-exclusive franchise for a natural gas transmission and distribution system in the city of Radford, Virginia?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Having heard 4 affirmative votes, we can dispense with a second reading if so desired. Is there a motion to do so? So moved. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second to dispense with a second reading. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you all very much. Atmos will be our natural gas provider moving forward once again.
You didn't have to do a roll call on that.
Did we?
I don't believe so. I think if there was any question about the vote, we would have, but I think by affirmation, we all agreed with it. Price Williams has requested the vacation of public parcels of property within the city adjacent to several of their properties. The locations include 5 parcels along Tyler Avenue, 1 on Berkeley Street, and 1 on Arlington Avenue. They paid all the fees to initiate this process, and the first step is to hold a public hearing, which was advertised for tonight. So, David, do you want to talk a little bit about the properties in question, and we'll put those up on the screen before we open the floor?
Pull those up for us. We'll go over those quickly. Each of them is hashed. Yeah, there it is. So these are located on Tyler Avenue, the first group. Generally speaking, they are excess right-of-way. The right-of-way was originally established when Tyler Avenue was constructed. This is extra property that went along with that. It's adjacent to various properties along Tyler and other areas in the city. As we determine that they're not needed, or if a property owner has another use for them, they can request that the properties be abandoned back to the city, vacated, right-of-way abandoned, so that they can be used for other purposes. Purposes range from, I think, just landscaping to helping with setbacks, to promoting the property itself, property that we most likely would not use. Our staff does go through and take a look at these. The first one is, let me go back to that master, but these are on Tyler Avenue. You can see the stars on the far right-hand bottom. Well, that's A, B, C, D, and E. So the first 5 are all located out in near the Food City, Super 8 motel area. So we'll go to those, and then the other ones are located, go ahead. Yeah, and the other 2 are located over on West Main Street, what we know as Commonwealth Press, here adjacent to Newer Valley Community Services. The other one across Arlington Avenue, adjacent to the Triangle Plaza.
Okay.
We just, go ahead.
Melissa, if you'll just step through each one of those. So that is Lot A, B, C, D, and E. Now, for reference, if you'll go back to the Lot D, I believe that is at the corner there, kind of near the Early Learning Center. You can see that listed in the top center there.
And they own the back fence line there where we have a substation all the way up to the current Auburn Avenue.
Right.
And just as a clarification, Price Williams owns the Early Learning Center.
Mhm.
It's leased by the Early Learning Center.
Yep.
Yeah, and we'd like to say at least on these first 5, Price Williams is the only adjacent property.
Right. And if we can move forward to Lot E, that is across Tyler Avenue and adjacent to the Super 8, correct?
Correct. There's a billboard that's back on that part of that property to get an idea where it is.
Right. And if we can move forward. So this is right adjacent, literally up against Commonwealth Press Building, correct?
Correct.
And that is a piece of the strip right along Arlington Avenue there with the lovely upgrade to the building that is adjacent on that property. Okay?
So tonight's public hearing has been advertised as required. Joint public hearing, property, neighbor property owners have been notified.
Okay. Council, any questions before we open the public hearing? Hearing none, we will open the public hearing. Please come down, use the podium and the microphone, state your name for the record. Any questions, comments, or concerns you might have? I know, there's been a rush to the podium all night. Seeing none, we will go on and close the public hearing portion of this. And we actually have a piece of business we need to take care of. We do need to look at appointing a board of viewers to review the right-of-way vacations and to make a recommendation to council. Council, you were sent a list of potential candidates who might be good that the engineering office and our communication director and clerk worked on for us. Do we have any nominations for our board of viewers?
I know this is a lot of properties. You do have the option to, you want one board to do all of them, or divide it into groups of boards, however you want to do that. We're just shooting for 3.
I would like to nominate Jennifer Bondurant and Abram Williams, who've both been involved before.
Okay, so we have 2 nominees, Jennifer Bondurant and Abram Williams. Do we have anyone else? We do have a good list. I believe Mr. Fleischer is also on the list, and he's here this evening. Would you be willing to serve in this capacity for us if we nominated you for this as well? Thank you. No pressure, right?
Didn't want to call you out.
There you go. Well, you're such a great guy. I thought you might be willing to help us out. All right. So we have 3 nominees. Do we have so we have a motion for that? Do we have a second? Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So we will reach out to those 3 and see if we can make this work, and then move forward from there. Okay. Thank you all very much. Moving forward, we have another piece of business, Oakmont Atlantic LLC. is looking for a special use permit for 664 West Main Street, just across the street here from us, the building with the great turret on it that looks a lot like a castle. It's currently been zoned B2 General Business District and requires an SUP for upper floor residential use. The owner, at our meeting we had, the public hearing on April the 21st, we talked this through and saw the plans, and there were no objections. So we have two actions tonight. We need to receive the report of the Planning Commission, consider action on a resolution. So Melissa, do you want to give us any additional information on the report of the Planning Commission?
Thank you, Mayor.
You're fine.
Too many roles.
I know you do.
apologize.
And I'm trying not to run you back and forth too much.
No, thank you very much. As you shared, Planning Commission met at their last meeting. We didn't have any negative comments regarding the special use permit, certainly knowing the enhancements that are gonna go on. They have begun doing some renovations on the third story, which is the owner's suite. So we do know those renovations have already begun. We're excited about that. As Planning Commission, as you shared, the Planning Commission made a recommendation to go ahead and request that you approve the resolution so they could have the mixed use.
Thank you very much. Do we have a motion to receive the report and recommendation of the Planning Commission? We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Motion and a second. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And do we have a motion to approve the special use permit for 644 West Main Street for Oakmont Atlantic LLC?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Lots of great business we have taken care of this evening. And I got out of order because I was reading too much ahead. Under our old business, we do need to, I think we've covered all of the old business we need to take care of. We do need to look at our new business, and Duncan Lane is something that's been a discussion for quite a while. J.W. Radford Contracting has been working on this property for some time. They are planning to construct 4 single-family homes along Duncan Lane. It's 1.03 acres, and it's zoned R3, which is single-family residential. The use is going to be permitted by the current zoning on the site. The Planning Commission received the request at its meeting on May the 16th, and there's a recommendation for us to move forward with this. Melissa, do you have anything you want to present to us on this presentation, on this program?
I shared the plat that they're proposing. If you do recall, a couple years ago, we received a request for townhomes, and the developer took some, heeded some of the comments that were made during the public hearing and decided that, you know, yes, he thought single-family development would be a better suit for this property, which is a by right use. Our zoning ordinance does not allow for me to sign off on anything more than 2 subdivisions, so they're requesting for you to go ahead and proceed with this. So.
Okay. Thank you very much. Naomi, you're serving on the Planning Commission. Any additional conversation?
No, I would just say I think that we all appreciated the way that the developers took into account the community concerns and responded appropriately.
Absolutely. So during that meeting, there had been different utilization of this property proposed, requiring some changes on behalf of the city. Several members of the community, of the neighborhood, had a significant amount of discussion regarding that. And as such, we talked with the developer, and this is the choices that they've made. So as such, do we have a motion to approve the 4-lot subdivision as requested by J.W. Radford Contracting?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just wanted to add, a lot of what you're seeing, hopefully you're noticing a few more options in regards to housing in Radford. We had completed a housing study and survey, and what we kept hearing is we need more housing, basically of all types, but those single-family homes were right up at the top. So hopefully you'll be seeing more opportunities. If you want to move into town, that you can, or find another house in town, you can as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any further discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We are looking at two additional ordinances. For the last several years, we've been looking to strengthen our code to try to enhance and improve neighborhoods throughout the city of Radford. Ordinance 1766 deals with trash and weeds. Ordinance 1767 deals with receptacles. The Virginia General Assembly amended the definition of clutter in 2021 to mean mechanical equipment, household furniture, containers, and similar items that may be detrimental to the well-being of a community when they're left in public view for an extended period or allowed to accumulate, provided, however, that the provisions of this article related to clutter shall not apply on land zoned for an active farm operation. So we are looking at two ordinances that would amend two additional ordinances. Ordinance 1766 would amend the trash and weed ordinance 1723. Ordinance 1767 would amend the receptacle provisions of the code, ordinance 1725. They strengthen code enforcement and improve health and welfare of the community. David, you have any thoughts or questions or comments?
As you all know, as you mentioned, we have been working hard on code enforcement. We've had a lot of successes in those areas. Terry Nicholson is here tonight. Nichols to answer any questions that you might have about the proposed ordinances. Terry's done a super job in code enforcement for us, and this will just only add to the ability to be clearer as we have cases that we're trying to deal with and that kind of thing. It affects two different sections of the code, and in working with the city attorney and looking at state code, this is the best way for us to address it in our code. Terry, any?
Thank you.
Looks like an excellent.
Yeah, council members, do you all have any questions?
And there is not a public hearing on this. It does require
Right.
2 readings, one tonight, and then you'll hold until the next meeting at the second.
This is one of the primary concerns that I think that we all hear, people wanting to make sure that their neighborhoods look nice and are taken care of and are clean and don't have anything that might cause any kinds of danger. So I'm glad that we have the opportunity to give one more tool to you to use.
There is a lot of pride in our personal property, properties, owners of properties, and rental properties. There's a lot of pride in both. And I think this is an excellent tool to help us, because every once in a while, we see a patch where we can't reach it without the clutter designation that you put in here.
This might be a good time to mention that within the city, we have programs available. So if there are things that you need removed, there is opportunity for the city to provide some assistance in that. Maybe tell them the process briefly.
Yeah, just notify Public Works. We do have April is our cost of the month where it's half price, but still throughout the year it's a good deal whether you do a small load or large load. Also, there are programs through services, the Action, and others. If you need some help with your property, just let us know. Contact code enforcement official. We'll try to get you in touch with the right folks. But we want folks to fix up their properties, and we will work those. Pretty much ones we're dealing with most are absentee properties that have been sitting around a long time for one reason or another. A lot of times are vacant. Those are the kinds of things we're trying to get cleaned up. The reasons for the enforcement and set up the ordinance that you did approximately this time a year ago, and these other things we're doing now.
Well, and I just have to commend Terry and Chris and everybody who goes around and works on this, because it's not just about writing a ticket and causing a hardship for the homeowner or the property owner. It's about working with people to try to help them find avenues to keep the property in good shape for the benefit of all. So really appreciate that. Any further comments or questions? Do we have a motion to adopt ordinance 1766?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Do we have a motion to adopt ordinance 1767?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We will have a second reading of both of those ordinances on July the 11th at our next meeting. So if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, please contact us. Yeah, there you go. Feel free. It's easy for me to say, right? Okay, we are looking at the SCADA system. The Electric and Information Technology departments have been planning and designing our supervisory control and data acquisition network needs. The SCADA system is used in controlling, monitoring, and analyzing electrical devices and controls. It's a critical piece of equipment and technology, and it's efficient for our operation of our electric system, the Little River Dam services, all the things that we do to provide service to the citizens of the city of Radford. Generally, the outage management system that monitors our overall electric system, so this should help us to do what we need to do. It provides the highest of functions and increases speed in identifying and addressing problems so that we have minimal impact on our customers. Our original SCADA system was a 2003 model. It received upgrades in 2013, but that's been 9 years ago. So we are doing a request for proposals. We've sought for replacement and improvement of the SCADA system. One proposal was met that our staff took a look at and felt it met our specifications. Surveillant Incorporated at a price of $298,421. So we need to talk about this just a little bit. We need to award the contract and then they approve the money so we can pay for it. David, do you have any thoughts about this?
Well, we've got Tim Allwood, our director here, and I'll get him to answer your questions. He can briefly tell you what the SCADA system does, one of our primary tools for the city to monitor outages, and does so much for the efficiency of our system. Tim, you want to add to that?
Yeah, one of the exciting things about it,
Actually, Tim, I'm going to get you to come over and use that mic, if you don't mind. That helps with the streaming as well, so folks online can hear what we're saying.
Thank you, council. Y'all have been very good to me, giving us the tools for bucket trucks and digger derricks to get the physical work done. But this helps us monitor the system both in good times and especially bad times. And we're excited, especially about the outage management system component of this. So that will give customers the ability to call in or email in or text in, allow us a little bit better way to manage all of the individual outages in a big storm. So that should improve our reliability and response time. And it also gives our crews a little bit better when they're responding to outages, during those times as well. So.
Absolutely. Council members, do you all have any questions for Tim?
I apologize if I just missed this, but I'm seeing a discrepancy between the bid proposal and the appropriation ordinance. I'm seeing 284,916 in the bid proposal, 298,421 in the appropriation ordinance.
Yeah, there's a
$13,505.
Yeah, for support, so the total
Okay.
support has to be given when the purchase order is given
Okay.
to the company.
Yeah, we're awarding the bid to the company for the amount of the contract, and then the appropriation covers the materials.
Right, okay.
And the service.
Just double check.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tim, what's the timeline to get this rolling after we appropriate this?
The proposed is about 12 months, and, some of that, will take longer. There's an interface with our GIS system, and I think that'll be the difficult part of that, but as far as getting it up and running, probably about 6 months.
Okay, all right.
I know in part because of the way we keep our lines cleared and the way we have a fast response from our people, we're light years ahead of other localities around us with keeping our lights on. But I think this is something that will even take us one level higher on that scale. Is that right?
That's right. We've got good people that respond well.
Yeah.
Well, and I like that it gives flexible communication to work with this. It's not just the old system of pick up the phone and make a phone
Correct.
call. There's a lot of options for people to be able to report emergencies and concerns. So that should be helpful.
And we need to back up our blood, sweat, and tears of our employees.
Absolutely.
With the latest technology.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Is there a motion for us to award the contract to Surveillant Incorporated in the amount of $298,421?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And now, do we have a motion for the approval of Appropriation Ordinance 1749.52, again in the amount of $298,421?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Having heard 4 affirmative votes, we can dispense with a second reading if so desired. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second to dispense with a second reading of Appropriation Ordinance 1749.52. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you for the work. You know, for those that have been following this, Tim has not only been working to upgrade and maintain our systems, but to improve lighting throughout the city, not only with the replacement of the types of lights that we're using, but the addition of many, many new lights in a lot of locations. We're looking to significantly upgrade much of the electrical system throughout the city over the next few years as we move into our next electric contract. So thank you for all the hard work you're doing.
Well, thank you, council, and thank you for all your support.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And this is where I think we need to reiterate to our citizens, we always talk about, you know, we get used to seeing things that we sometimes stop looking. And so if you live in a community and you notice that there's a particular area that could use some lighting, please let us know. A lot of the recommendations we're able to fulfill quite expediently. So keep your eye open. If there's an improvement, please let us know.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we are going to move to the recreation side of things and a skateboard park. For several years, we've been talking about the possibility of trying to add to our recreation portfolio with something that serves kids that might, well, and adults too, that might not be fully served by the things that we offer at present time. And so we've been working for quite some time. It's been a passion of Jesse Foster's as well, and all of us have been working on this to try to figure out a way to begin a skateboard park. So we're going to pull up some slides and talk about it a little bit here. ZMM Architects and Engineers and the American Ramp Company have been working with us to develop a concept. And boy, the pandemic and inflation sure didn't help us in this process, but we've been able to come up with a very, very nice first phase of this plan, which would include quarter rail, 45-degree pyramid corner and wedge, bank ramp, hubble edge, flat areas, half rails, 90-degree pyramid corner, jump box, 2 rolls, and all the related concrete work that would be part of it. So this is just phase 1. Phase 2 would then go on and expand on that and grow it from there. So David, do you want to go through anything?
Sure, this is an exciting project, one that's been talked about for a number of years. This is a much improved over what we were talking about a decade ago or even 5 years ago when we thought we would do something ourselves and have some barrels and things like that. So this is a very sophisticated part. Kenny, I will call on you and Bill, if you'll introduce Bill to everybody, and Bill, if you'll approach the podium, that would be great. Bill Shelton's with ZMM Architects. He has worked closely with us over the years and dealt with a number of my phone calls over the last 2 weeks, and he and Kenny have done a great job. So Kenny, I'll turn it over to you guys to go over the program and proposal with council.
Thank you, David. Mayor Horton, City Council, my pleasure to have Bill Shelton, the Senior Civil Engineer from ZIM, here tonight. Formerly OWPR, Oliver Webb Papson Rudy. I've worked with Bill 25 years now, because he was very instrumental in the design and construction of the Raft Recreation Center. So when we've been talking about a skateboard park, like David said, I think it's been in the capital projects plan for at least 10 years. We've probably looked at every skateboard park from Galax to Charlottesville. And last year, David wanted me to talk to Bill and start getting some preliminary designs and everything. And like Mayor Horton said, things have come a long way in the last few years, construction costs and everything, and it's not just wooden ramps and jumps anymore. I think Bill's done a great job working with American Ramp Company and getting to this point, and I'd like Bill Shelton to come and let us know what all is going on.
All right.
I would add to that, this was one of the priorities that council discussed and looked at during a couple of your retreats. And also will add that when you're looking at how this works in Bissett Park, Bill is also, he and Randy and his team have been heavily involved in all the master planning for Bissett Park. So he's keeping that in mind as we're going forward and make sure we don't put something somewhere we're not should.
Exactly. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Appreciate the opportunity to come and just introduce the project to you. I'm sure you've seen it, you've heard it, and we've had the pleasure of working with Kenny and David to get to this point. So Where we're looking in Bissett Park, as David mentioned, we've master planned this with the Parks and Rec, and so the location we found which best suits this, keeps it out of the way of other potential future activities, is right adjacent to the bridge. It's right near the tennis courts, so we can have electricity for future lighting. It's adjacent to some parking areas, but it's not too close because we don't want the skateboarders merging out into traffic, into the parking lot. But it's also very close to the trails on both sides. We have some trees for some shading. It's just a nice little spot to set this stage and get some great amenities for the Bissett Park. So as we went through this process, as Kenny mentioned, there's several really nice skate parks in the area. We looked at Blacksburg. They have a nice concrete park. The town of Pulaski is getting ready to do one with American Ramp Company, and it is all modular. So there's basically two types of systems. There's the all concrete system, then there's the modular ramp type system. Pulaski's doing just a flat slab of concrete with the modulars. Town of Blacksburg chose to do a full concrete. Town of Christiansburg has a hybrid system, which has a little bit of both, a little bit of concrete and a little bit of the modular system. The modular system allows a lot of flexibility. All the items that you read off, you can't really it's really difficult to get those in concrete, but they can fabricate those really well. And the materials that they have, the current materials they use, are very durable and long-lasting. Concrete is going to be way more durable, but it's also much more expensive, particularly when you get into the specialized ramps and jumps and rails and things that the skateboarders enjoy. So what we've come up with in teaming with American Ramp Company is a hybrid system. It has, and we'll go through a few renderings that they did for us. So we have some concrete components. We also have some modular components. So really giving and not a really big space, a lot of opportunity, a lot of activity for the participants, for the skateboarders, rollerbladers, whoever wants to come out and enjoy it. So as Mayor Horton mentioned, this is going to be a phased approach. So we talked with American Ramp about how we could phase this. We laid it out as a full project. When we got the price tag, we all kind of said, well, let's maybe take it in steps. So without doing a lot of extra work and a lot of redesign, we asked them, help us understand what a phase one looks like. So the area in green without the blue items with X's is what we would get in a phase one. Basically, we were looking at about 6,000 square feet of flat concrete with the majority of the modular components, which would be a great start. I think it will generate a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of good activity in the park, and hopefully as the next phases move on, we could get the rest of the components, which would be a few more of the modular components, but really what the cost will be there is the specialty concrete, about 4,500 more square feet. So the total square feet of concrete and skate park area is about 10,500 square feet. So that's the basic overview, and happy to answer any questions you might have.
I do have a question,
Yes.
a few questions. Could you first of all talk to us about expected lifespan of the modular units that we would see in phase one, and then also the maintenance costs for those that we can expect every year?
Okay, so in speaking with American Ramp, basically the maintenance on these newer units is basically just cleaning. If any of the surfaces become worn, they have repair kits that they can come out and do. And in about 5 to 7 years, they'll probably need to be repainted. And they said it's not a specialty type paint, so Public Works could take care of it. It could be done in-house.
Okay.
So really, and the modular system that the town of Christiansburg has is about 20 years old. And it's still in great shape. They have American Ramp come out and actually inspect it. Occasionally, I spoke with Terry Caldwell. I can't remember how often she said they came out, but they did have them come out and inspect, and They just make sure everything's tight and in good, safe working order. And really, it's not a tremendous maintenance cost year by year. 5 to 7 years, you'll probably have to do some service maintenance and repaint.
Great, thank you.
The maintenance side of this surprised me. It's almost maintenance free. It's amazing. It's probably one of our few investments that you don't have ongoing or pretty good sized expense, and it's your bottom line for operations and repairs.
Right, the concrete portions will be basically maintenance free, as long as we don't have graffiti, other things going on out there. But basically cleaning and making sure things are tight and safe on a regular basis is really all that needs to be done.
That's great.
Any other questions?
This is very exciting. This is one of my goals on council that I had, because I have an avid skateboarder, and I always had to drive him to other communities. And I know one goal of council is that we want to make sure our parks have something for everybody. We want to see all ages able to get out and enjoy the park. And so some other things that we're hoping that you're going to see, well, one, you'll see pickleball, because we had a lot of requests for pickleball. We've looked at disc golf, where, as you see, we've been increasing the walking trails, biking trails. We're talking about a splash pad for the littles. So we're really wanting your input on this too. But I want to just thank council for being so open-minded through this, because I do think this is a portion of our community that often our parks don't always have enough opportunity for. So just thank council for being so supportive of that.
Thank you. Forrest, you're on Rec Commission. Any other thoughts you want to share?
Yeah, I think it's exciting. I think primarily for me, just that we have a new, fresh source of just something new and fresh for our community to use that we really don't have other opportunity to do. So I think it's worth it. I think it's good and exciting for the community. So.
And we're always open to corporate sponsors for that
That's
last phase. And if we don't get any, there may be a time that I'm going to knock on your door to ask directly.
She will.
And I will, look, and I will. And I will say, we really, the larger project, we all were extremely excited about, but as a couple of you know, you in particular with my projects in phases, right? I'm a big phase person. He's like, yes, phases. But we really, just with the cost, we really didn't have much of a choice. We still want to be fiscally responsible and sound. And so we've had to kind of cut some corners just on the size, but not on the opportunity. And you see that we have the opportunity to grow and expand on this, and we will. But again, if anyone knows a corporate sponsor, there could be opportunities for naming.
Sure.
Who knows? If you don't come forward.
Tony Hawk, come on down.
I know, this is directly to Tony Hawk.
David,
But-
maybe you could talk to us a little bit about how we are funding this. That was an excellent introduction. I think that that's really important for everybody to hear.
As you know, we ultimately are going to do a one-time exemption for our ARPA funding. This will be funded through our ARPA program that's been earmarked pretty much since the beginning as a possibility for the use of that fund. So it doesn't require any tax increase or anything like that. The fact that it's maintenance free is great. I've learned a whole lot. It's neat for us in that we've been doing fields over the years. Every so many years we do fields or field improvements, improvements to the rec center, things like that. As Kenny knows, this is something completely new and different, and I don't know that much about it, but I feel hip just talking about it. So, as I go along, these guys are pulling me through. So, yeah, it's kind of exciting, something different. So, and it meets a need for a different group of kids. We have a lot of stuff for the younger kids and seniors, but this is something that a lot of our teenagers have mentioned in their surveys and things like that. So it's an opportunity to try something different. So we're going to try it out if you all are in agreement.
One final thing that I would just add is that we really need to challenge ourselves here to make sure that we're utilizing this as to the fullest capacity. Because one of the I've been really I believe in a community that invests in its park system. I think that shows that you care about your community. But we also want to really make sure that it is actually used before we advance to phase two. And so we, as a city, need to make sure that our tourism commission we're really promoting it. Our rec department is utilizing it. We're doing everything that we can to make sure that it is a space that is going to be very well utilized by our
That
community.
brings up another good point that we had discussed when we were talking about how to manage this project and what areas we can scale back. The one thing we didn't want to do is set ourselves up for failure, to invest such a small amount that no one would utilize it anyway because it just wasn't a large enough attraction. And then moms like myself would still be driving to other communities. So I think that really there's been great measures taken to make sure there's enough interest and interesting components to this, that this will hopefully even draw kids from other communities to ours. And I wanted to say I'd be remiss in not thanking David through this too, because I've probably called him 388 times, maybe 389 times, just talking with him and seeing where we're at and bugging him a little bit too. So just thank you to everyone really for suspending your initial disbelief and walking through this. So. And thank you guys so much.
I know it did start, I mean, Naomi was on the rec commission when we talked about it. Of course, Forrest has been on there. Just something in looking ahead, you know, Mississippi Park is dusk to dawn. We will probably keep that for safety. It's hard to do part of it without the other. As you mentioned, we'll get it out there, make sure it's part of our tourism, maybe some things with recreation where you can advance some kind of tournaments or things like that. And then also, the rules for the park, we'll be working with Bill and other, Kenny and I have already been talking about some rules, working with our neighboring communities to be sure that our rules match up with theirs and everybody understands. From what I get in this, everybody's very respectful of property and very respectful of what is required to be safe and things like that. Always going to be a safety issue with this kind of thing, but everybody is as safe as they possibly can.
Honestly, and part of my study on this, I did have a great conversation with the mayor of Christiansburg because I wanted to make sure that, you know, the participants there were utilizing the park, that just to find out what challenges they had. And he said that the group of kids that come there and adults are so very respectful. And I know when the city was putting up lights, or Christiansburg was putting up lights, my son and a lot of the skateboarders actually brought food, and they had a carry-in for the folks that were putting up the lights. So when they were there, they had a carry-in for everybody, and they were extremely supportive, and they do a lot of the policing themselves. So it was nice hearing just from someone close by what his experience was, and it's been very positive.
And Bill mentioned cleaning and things like that. That could be something we get volunteers, you know, that
Right.
the users may want to come down and help us on cleaning days or something like that. We didn't mention the fact if everything ends up being a go tonight, I'm going to turn it loose tomorrow. How fast? This will move fast. I mean, when do you think it realistically could be on the ground? Not knowing supply chain, things like that. You got a rough guess at this point? I don't mean to throw you on the spot when you're talking about a time frame. But
I don't have a rough time frame at this point. It can move very quickly though. And like you mentioned, it is going to be kind of a supply chain thing. I know American Ramp has projects in the works already. I think they're starting in the town of Pulaski's. So
follow, you think?
I'll follow, yeah, probably, I would say so. And I will mention one thing you had mentioned, when we went to American Ramp and talked about the phasing, we took the overall plan that wasn't intended to be phased, and we said, okay, where do we draw the line? And they want to take a second look at it because they feel like they can come up with an even better design that is more
Great.
appropriate for phasing.
Wonderful.
So
Great.
that's the first thing we'll need to do is get in touch with them and then turn them loose to kind of sharpen their pencils because they didn't really like how the phasing plan was. They want to do something even better.
Great.
So, but nothing,
That's
no
wonderful.
less, just
Probably
better.
be more. Perfect.
Perfect.
All right, straight off the internet, we've had a question. How will the modular units hold up to flooding?
They will be anchored to the concrete. And I did ask that question because I know Bissett Park.
Right?
And yeah, yes, they will be anchored. I did ask that question to American Ramp, and they are anchored and tested. So we're going to leave it up to their engineers
Okay.
to make sure the concrete under.
All right. Any other questions or comments before we get rolling? I just want to say thank you for all the hard work. This has been a big project, long time coming, and I think we've got something that we're all excited about. So thank you very much. Council members, do we have a motion to approve the contract with American Ramp Company?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Do we have a motion to approve appropriation ordinance 1749.53 in the amount of $250,000?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Having heard 4 affirmative votes, we can dispense with a second reading if so desired. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Now, we've got some, thank you all very much.
Very exciting. Thank you.
Yeah, there we go. We've got some end-of-the-year purchases. As we go through, we hold some things back over the course of the year. We have to address some things. We also have some new things that are going on. We're looking at about $1.5 million worth of expenses. They relate to the electric department equipment, information technology, our Tyler to East Main capital project, Radford Transit, and a whole lot of smaller general things that will be going on. And to carry the funds into fiscal year 22, an appropriation is needed, so the funds are greater than 1% of the total. David, anything else you want to share with that?
No, since it does exceed 1%, we need to schedule a public hearing. We'll hold that at the meeting, first meeting of the meeting in July. Also, the thing that pushed us over is the bus orders. Otherwise, we would be right on that mark. So anything that really runs over about $500,000 kicks us into that public hearing phase. So do recommend that we proceed with that.
Absolutely. So we need to schedule a public hearing for July the 11th to consider the fiscal year 2022 amended budget. Do we have a motion to schedule a public hearing?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. David, I know you've got a couple things for us to consider as well.
Yes, thank you all. This is always exciting. It's great to see projects advancing. As you know, we're watching all of our projects as they relate to inflation, as they relate to cost of living, anything like that. If it looks like it's something that's beyond what we normally would do, we're trying to hold off on those. Paving is one of those. We're not going to do a spring paving. Paving costs have gotten way up there, so we're electing to patch right now, and then we're hoping that by the fall we'll do a double paving for the upcoming year. So just keep that in mind. Anybody that, I think we're getting around to every neighborhood, but if there are places where the street's decayed or there's potholes, let us know, and we'll either go in and mill it out and replace a section, or make the repair. So let us know if there's somewhere that we have missed. A lot of exciting things going on tonight, and then also we've got our East Main Street project is well underway. It's running a little slower than we thought. If you've gone down there and looked, the road is about that thick, so it's taking a little more mining, milling, and excavation, as our Public Works knows, to get that ready for our contractor that will be coming in, we hope, in the next week or so, to be able to start putting that median in. And that will serve 2 purposes. One, to introduce you into the area, and then the main thing is to serve as a traffic calming. It will slow traffic down because you're visually going into a narrow area. It does not interrupt public safety or any ambulance access or anything like that. So that will be our first phase of that project, and then we'll be moving on, as you know, later this summer. We'll be coming back with some introductions. Hurt Profit is the engineers on that project downtown. We'll be coming back to introduce some of those to you. We're also doing spruce up, cleanup projects around town. Plant hanging baskets have gone in. Beautification Commission is getting a little quicker than we thought, so some of the plantings may be further in the fall, but got a lot of things going on to make the community look great. A couple of things I do need you to advance for me tonight that didn't get on the agenda. One is, as you know, we are transferring operation of our Radford Transit the 30th of June at midnight. We'll transfer over to RTW. We have one bus that needs to be surplus so that we can get that off of New River Valley Community Services lot and just tow it one time. So I've given that to you tonight. If I can get a simple motion to declare.
Let's do that right now, and we'll talk about that real quick.
So, anything to add to that? Okay, go ahead.
So the bus is bus number 315-1022. It is a 2016 Ford. We acquired it in well, that can't be right. The acquisition date, it's got 125,000 miles on it. Do we have a motion to surplus this bus?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So we have one other piece of business we'd like to do tonight.
Yes, as you know, Lawrence Rice, long-time employee of the city of Radford and director of our water treatment plant, is retiring. He's been director there for over 10 years. And we have a little thing for him tomorrow, so we did want to ask council if you consider a resolution recognizing his service to our community, so we can present that to him tomorrow.
And so we will ask Dr. Harshberger if he will present such resolution.
Please excuse my hoarseness. It's the pollens that were particularly hard this year. City of Radford, resolution honoring Lawrence Rice. Whereas the City of Radford wishes to honor the service and contributions of Lawrence Rice to the community. And whereas Lawrence Rice has served as the Water and Wastewater Director since 2004. And whereas Lawrence Rice is efficient, knowledgeable of all things plant and system related, possesses the highest level in certifications, #1 certifications, and has the most dedication. And whereas Lawrence Rice had led us to receiving 7 gold awards from the Virginia Department of Health for best practices in drinking water. And whereas Lawrence Rice has planned and overseen several extensive renovations of the water treatment plant, as well as system improvements in the promotion of efficiency, clean water, and moderation. And whereas Lawrence Rice has served tirelessly in fulfilling the mission and goals of the water treatment plant. Now therefore, be it resolved that the City of Radford does hereby honor and thank Lawrence Rice for his 26 years of leadership and service to our community. Signed by David Horton, Mayor. Attested to by Melissa Skelton, Deputy City Clerk. To be adopted this day, June 13th, 2022. Mr. Mayor, I move that we place this on record and approve this resolution.
Thank you, Dr. Harshberger. We have a motion to approve the resolution. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
And congratulations to Lawrence. I know this is, we're sorry to see him go, but we're really happy for him to enter the next phase of his life and to wish him well. And thank him for his service, absolutely. And I will be here tomorrow as part of his farewell ceremony. So we'll be there. David, do you have anything else?
That's it, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. This evening, I'm going to turn down to Mr. Height and start with him to see what he has for us this evening.
Well, first of all, I want to express a hearty thanks to all of you for being here tonight, and not just for being here, but staying here to the end. I think in my 2 years on council, this is possibly the longest agenda that I've seen, and this is possibly the largest crowd that I've seen stay from start to finish. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your interest in what's happening in the city. I think that's really important. I'd encourage you to continue to stay interested, continue to stay up to date. A lot gets done here. A lot gets done over there, especially and throughout the city staff. But it's important to know what's going on in your community. So I commend you for being here and for showing your interest. I do have something that I do want to talk about a little bit tonight. But David, I want to ask you a quick question first. Do we have any clarity? I know Mike's not here tonight, but do we have any clarity on what the ballot's going to look like in November as to
Nothing further than what Mike sent to you.
Okay.
They're still, he and Tracy have approached the
Attorney General?
and the Attorney General and the Master Registrar to determine that process.
Okay. I hate that it's taking this long to get an answer on it, but okay.
You know what the charter says, I think, if you're trying to figure out, make sure there's no conflict.
We're basically going to go with what the charter says for this point in time, and then if there's some conflict, we'll let folks know.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So those of you who are familiar with me know that I usually, when I have something that I really want to talk about at a meeting, I usually prepare notes. I didn't do that tonight, I just want to talk. But I announced on June 2nd, a little over a week ago, that I will be resigning from my position here on City Council in early July. Those interested can read more specifically my full statement on my Facebook page. But to put it briefly, it's just been a very challenging year and a half or so for my family. It's been just a very challenging season for us, and very difficult, and this is something that we've been thinking and praying about for a long time, trying to understand what it is, what would be best, and so we will be moving to North Alabama in the Huntsville area, and I got to say this part, my role here in the city, my role here on council, on the boards for NRVCS and the Rec Commission, leaving that has probably been it's been the most difficult part of this. It's been tough because I really do love Radford, and I really do love its people. I love the community here. I love to see the progress that we're making, the challenges that we're facing, and to be a part of the change that's happening. It's been life-changing. The exact date is still to be determined. It'll be between July 1st and 11th. There are a few details that need to be sorted out, but as of some recent events of the past few days, it seems most likely that this will be my last meeting. And so I did want to take some time to express my gratitude to the city of Radford, to express my gratitude to David and to all the city staff, to the council members here, to the citizens. It has been a true honor to serve alongside all of you, and it has been a true privilege to serve this city, something that I will never forget, that will always be a part of who I am. And so yeah, I was getting a little bit emotional at the beginning of the meeting, and it's coming back a little bit, but I think that's pretty much, I guess you could say in the words of another Forrest, that's all I got to say about that. But thank you all. And I guess I do have one more thing. I will never stop loving Radford. And I truly believe that the best is ahead for this city, that we're poised for great things. So God bless you all.
Forrest, thank you so much. Forrest, thank you so much, not only for your service and your kind comments this evening, but thank you for your courage during very difficult times to continue to put yourself out here and to serve, to work for the citizens of the city, to participate with us on council and sometimes some very heated discussions and a lot of progress for the city. But we thank you very much for your service. We appreciate everything that you have done, and we wish you well. I'm excited for your new adventure
We are excited
and
too.
your
I will say
family's
that
new
this-
opportunity.
This part has been very difficult, but we are excited. We do feel like this is a real opportunity for our family to have a fresh start. So, and God has been so gracious through the process, even since the beginnings before the announcement, and then since the announcement, just allowing things to fall in place. So I don't want this to feel like it's all sadness coming from here, because there is joy as well.
I'm excited for you. I think it's
Yes.
going to be great, and we wish you the very, very
New
best.
family on the way?
That's right. Yeah, expecting my first child, a son. So yeah.
You got to arrange to come back here so that child can be born in Radford. And you can move back, right? There you go. Just kidding. Just kidding. Thank you very much. Naomi, what do you have for us?
Well, I'll start with Forrest. We have not always seen eye to eye politically, but we have always respected each other, and I think that we have always been able to communicate openly, and I have just so much respect for you and what you have done, and appreciation for that relationship that we've built. I think that it is conversations like those that make us a better community, because we're not always going to agree, and we know that. We're all different people in this world, but we all have the same goal for Radford, and so I've truly treasured that. So we will miss you, but we are excited for you. And I am also, I will say, very excited for your son. I'm so delighted for you. And then turning to one other thing, I am so sad that Kenny has already left, because I always like to, when people have done great jobs, I like to highlight that. One thing that I wanted to mention, I recently got a complaint, and I'm going to make a little bit of fun of the pickleballers. We hear a lot about the pickleballers. I'm going to make just a little bit of fun. But
You're taking a risk, I'm telling you.
I'm going out on a
risk.
But we received a concern about the lighting in the gym.
Yeah.
And on the very same day that I passed this concern on to David and Kenny, they began a plan, and they executed this plan. And within several weeks, they had cleaned the lighting. They had made adjustments to the location of the court to make sure that the lighting at the right side of the gym was the best for our pickleball players. And they also plan to have engineers come out to make sure that we're having appropriate lighting, that we don't need to add anything, or if we do, what type. And it was all so responsive, so fast, and I was just blown away by how quickly they moved on just one comment about, oh, I can't see my pickleball. And so I just wanted to say thank you to the rec department. Please extend my thanks to Ken, because I thought that was just, I was very, very impressed, and it's just one of the valuable services that we offer in the city, and I kudos to them. That is it for me for tonight.
Thank you. Jesse, what do you have?
Yes. Well, first of all, again, just to address Forrest briefly, if you get tears, I get tears. So we'll all be in tears. I can't do it. But we also have had some very interesting conversations up here amongst us. We've not always agreed either. But I think to leave you with something that really struck me is that personifies Forrest. When we met for lunch and he was letting me know of the choice and the decisions that he's making for his family, the last thing he said to me is, well, before I go, what can I do for you? How can I help you through? What can I do? And that really signifies a lot of Forrest's attitude through all of this, even when we arm wrestled and tussled and did spitballs behind each other's back or whatever. Point being, at the end of the day, we're all in this together. We're all in it for the betterment of the community. And to give you my answer, I told him to live his life and be happy. That's truly what I want him to do for me. So I told him that we're going to have to be friends on Facebook, and people are going to wonder about that. But we are now friends on Facebook. It's official, so I can watch his young family blossom. And it has been a pleasure to serve with you, and I'm looking forward to your adventures.
Dick, what do you have?
First, let me say that, Forrest, I have admired your courage, your fortitude, your resolve. And I've admired your gentlemanliness, your gentle manners, and your kindness. And of course, my wife teaches kindness, as some of you know. But I think that's one of the greatest virtues you can have is kindness. And I think you have that. And I admire that in you. I really do. I've got a little bit of a frustration here on other things. I was at the Virginia First board meeting, as you know, and we go into closed session to do all our good stuff, you know? And all I can say is I'm very excited about the prospects for Commerce Park, prospects for the airport, which is adjacent to the park. And of course, if you don't know, we own part of the park, and we're involved in that with other communities and other localities. And there's some great things that are going to happen. I can't tell you because it was in closed session, but I was very excited when I left the meeting. So we'll tune in for the next chapter. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll just reiterate once again, we appreciate you, Forrest. Thank you for giving of your time and your talents to the city of Radford. Thank you for the conversations and the participation to help improve the work that we do. I think one of the most important things that we try to do as a council is make sure that everybody does have a voice around the table and that we all talk through all of the ideas that are presented to try to move things forward. So it's very important, too, that people bring things to the table that we may not be thinking about. And we just want to say thank you and wish you well. I think enough of this maudlin stuff. We're excited for you. You've got a whole new life coming up, a whole new adventure. And as much as we're going to miss you, we're happy for you. And we wish you and your budding family the very best. And enjoy Tinseltown down there.
That's right.
And when we have our version of Tinseltown here, you can come back and
I wanna see
say,
it. I wanna
what a
see it."
great idea.
Yeah.
So we can go
You're
from there.
always welcome back here.
Absolutely. We'll invite you back anytime. Well, that's it for me. I will entertain a motion for us to adjourn this evening.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say good night. Good night. Careful now. Don't be closing my door.